Hi everybody, this is Chelsea from Personal Touch Scrapbooking, and today I have a short video for you on some stenciling and misting tips. This is one thing that I get asked a lot, whether it's in classes or online. A lot of people struggle with using stencils, which are really popular right now, and also misting. So I'm going to run through some of my top tips to help you be a little bit more successful. And I wanted to start off with my storage for my stencils. I recently just changed it up. I used to store them in an iris container, a plastic container just like this, and I had them all just thrown in there. And, you know, every time I wanted one, I had to dig and dig and dig. And some of those stencils have really fine little areas, so when you're digging through them, you're bending parts of them. So this is how I have it now. This is a Project Life binder, and I got some 6x6 Project Life refills, and then I just put some cheap white cardstock into the pockets and then put my stencils in. And I also labeled them just with the company and the name of the stencil if I knew what it was. And so that's how I have all my smaller, I have some of the Heidi Swap ones that are smaller than 6x6. And then any bigger than that, I have some Prima ones. I'm thinking these are more like 6.5 or larger than that. And those I just have in a 12x12 page protector. And then, I don't know, for some reason the Prima ones are all kind of weird sizes. Their 12x12s don't fit in a 12x12 protector. Kind of sticks out the top there, but whatever, that doesn't really bother me. And then that's how I have my other stencils, just in here like that. And this has been working really good so far. I'm quite happy with it. Keeps me organized. I can flip through and see what I have really easily. So I think I'm going to stick with this method for a while. On to some techniques. So first I'm going to talk about stenciling. One of the things you can do with a stencil, especially if you're doing card making or scrapbooking and you want to make it very precise, you don't want it to be kind of messy. You can, just causing an avalanche over here. You can use something like Post-it tape, which is just like a low tack sticky note tape, to secure your stencil in place. And usually you want to secure it at least at 2 points, like that. You could also use washi tape, or if you're using Scotch tape, you'll want to put it on your skin a couple times and get the stickiness off so it doesn't rip your paper when it lifts. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about mediums. So this is modeling paste. This is gloss super heavy gel. These are thicker pastes that will go through stencils really nicely. So I'll just show you here. This is not as thick of a modeling paste as like the Liquitex or the golden one. It's a little bit runnier. I'm just gonna put it on, and I find a lighter touch is better. If your paste is too runny, or the medium that you're spreading through the stencil is too runny, and you really try and scrape it down in there, then it's going to run under your stencil a little bit more. I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit here for you guys so you can get a closer up look of what I'm doing. So I'm not gonna cover the whole area, but I'm just spreading it out. This would be kind of like a medium coat. If you want it very thin, you'd have to scrape it right down. Maybe while I have that in place, I'm just going to wipe off my palette knife with a baby wipe. When you're doing any kind of stenciling, baby wipes and paper towels are your friend. They are awesome. So this is the Gloss Super Heavy Gel, which is awesome for stenciling because it is thicker. And it's going to dry clear and shiny because it's gloss. So you can get the matte version of this medium as well, if that's the kind of look that you're going for. Make sure you wipe off your tools right away before it dries. Otherwise you can have an interesting mess that's hard to get off. And then I'm just going to untape my stencil and lift it up. Now, yeah, I think you guys can see on there, that's what you're going for. You want really crisp designs most of the time. Unless you're going for a little bit messier art journal sort of a look, most of the time you want very crisp designs. And using a thicker medium will help you get that. Now I'm just going to wipe off my stencil because you don't want this drying on your stencils either. If you want to use something runnier, like let's say maybe a soft gel, which is more like a paint consistency. It's a lot runnier than the heavy gel. Or let's say you want to use acrylic paint. So I have just some craft paint here. I'm going to use a sponge. So this is a makeup applicator. You could use like the Tim Holtz inking tool. So I'm going to put the paint off to the side here on my palette. I'm just going to use the same stencil just for demonstration purposes. So when you load your sponge, you want to dip into the paint and dip off and just kind of pounce around. So the amount of paint that's actually on my sponge is not that much. It's not dripping. I didn't scoop it up. I'll just remove this tape here. So I'm going to lay that on there and I'm just going to pounce. I'm not dragging. I'm just pouncing straight up and down. And that gives me nice, crisp, defined designs. You'll find too, when you're looking at stencils to buy, ones that have a thicker parts of plastic, not as many holes, like the plastic in between the holes is wider, will be easier for you to get a good impression out of. If you end up with ones with lots of really fine lines, you're going to have to be very careful with what products you use. Anything too runny is going to be hard to keep on a stencil that has really fine detail on it. So that's paint. And that kind of goes for any thinner medium. Now going really thin, we're going to talk about mist. Now mist can be tricky with stencils, and that's usually where I get the most comments from people that they're struggling. So a few tips about your mist. Getting a good mist that doesn't clog up on you all the time makes a big difference. My favorite ones are the Dilutions, the Color Shine, or the Color Bloom. So this one's by Prima, this one's by Ranger, and this one's by Heidi Swapp. And the two on the sides here, those are glimmer mists, like they're shimmery. They have mica in them. And then the Dilutions is just straight color. And I like both of these because all that mica that's in there will tend to clog your sprayer, except these ones have mixing balls in them. So you can shake that up really good. You don't need to swirl it or do anything, you know, any special way to mix it. Just give it a good shake and get ready to go. One of the most common mistakes I see with people when they're misting, they hold their, here I'll tilt this on the side, they hold their mist like right up to the stencil. You do not want to be that close. The farther you get away, the less likely it is to roll under. So I'm just going to spray like that. That was 3 or 4 pumps. And then I'm going to move my stencil right away. Especially if you think you got too much ink on your stencil, if you leave it sit there, the longer it sits there, the more it will tend to roll under, go under your stencil and give you a blurry image. So that's pretty good. Like, that's not a bad impression at all. You can see the white outline. If you don't like that, and I typically don't like that, what I will do, I'm just gonna put this down here again. I will use paper towel, or you could use printer paper, and just mask off those edges. So just cover up those harsh lines from the edge. And I'll use some of my Dilutions this time. And then I'll take this off. And there you go. Nice, crisp impression. I will mention too, when I'm spraying, I know it's hard for you to tell, I'll kind of hold this to the side, I'm about that far away. So, you know, 6 inches to a foot away will give you the best results, is what I have found. And if you're trying to do like a whole background area, and you want to get a nice kind of even coverage, start on, here I'll zoom out for you guys. Start on one side and kind of go in windshield wiper motions. Go back and forth, keep your hand moving So see, I'm pushing all the way down, all the way to the bottom, and I'm moving my hand at the same time. Now that might take some coordinating, but it works really well. And you will notice as you get to the bottom of mist bottles, they tend to start clogging more. They also tend to start getting more spits. So you start getting more spots of mist. And that's just because the little wand here inside, if I can get this open, this little hose here is sucking up more air when you start to get low. So if you have mist like the Color Bloom, you can add water to these actually, and I've added that to the Heidi Swap, and it works pretty well to extend the life of your mist because there's so much mica and pigment in there. Color Blooms, they actually advertise that once you get down to half of your bottle, fill it up with water again, and then you'll have another whole use out of that bottle. And this is really nice. I love the design of these mists. Love them, love them. This little thing here is to keep these from accidentally spraying on you, especially if you like to go to crops and things. And you just pull it kind of like you would a Windex bottle. So I should give this a shake here. And they just give you even, beautiful coverage. It is so easy to look like a pro when you have good mist. I have found there's certain brands that tend to clog more, like Tattered Angels. A lot of my Lindy Stamp gang have started clogging on me. So it just kind of depends. You need to find what mists work for you, which ones you like best. And I think that's pretty much all I can share with you about misting and stenciling. If I've left anything out, or if there's something that I didn't answer, you have more questions, please feel free to leave me a comment below. And also you can find me over on Facebook at Personal Touch Scrapbooking, and on my blog at personaltouchscrapbooking.com. I will have all the links below, and thanks so much for watching.